Hi, I'm Jen from Ember and Thread, and I'm going to teach you how to hand embroider. I will tell you all about this design and everything that goes along with it as we go. But for now, I'm going to teach you how to thread the needle. The embroidery floss consists of 6 strands, so we're going to just basically pinch them together and wiggle the little eye of the needle in there and then pull it through. Embroidery needles have bigger eyes, so look out for those needles because that's very helpful. And then for the basic knot technique, I just do a little loop with my fingertip and stick the little tail on the end and pull it through. Boom. Did you catch that? All right, here we go. First stitch is a straight stitch, and that's how you make the spokes of this woven wheel. So once you have your thread knotted, you pull your needle all the way through starting at the outer edge of the spoke. So you watch me come up through the fabric on the outer edge on the dot, pull it all the way through, and then go straight down into the center. All 5 spokes go right down into the center. Watch me pull it all the way through, and then I'm going to do this third one. Come out on the outer rim of the circle, all the way through, and then back down in the center. Same exact spot as the previous stitches. This is called the woven wheel because as you make these spokes, the next step of the stitch is to literally weave around the spokes. So you're going to go up and under, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, here we go. When you're done with the spokes, pull it all the way through the thread and then come back up in the center, not the exact center. See how I'm off a little bit? Come up towards the center. Pull it all the way through again. Now here's where we start the weaving. So I'm going over that first spoke and under the next, over the next, and this one is under, and then over the next. And you keep going all the way around the flower just like this. You are not piercing through the fabric, just something to keep in mind. You are just going underneath these spokes and then over these spokes. So you're not actually going through the fabric at any point during this whole process. Again, you just keep going under, over, and the object is to fill up the space that you are doing the woven wheel in and to cover the spokes of the wheel. Notice how the top spoke is starting to disappear a little bit. I can guarantee you that it is still under there. You just gotta find it. You can move the other little, yep, see how I move it to the side? Then you find the little spoke and you keep going. Fill it up until your desired amount. And you can play around with the other colors for this woven wheel if you want to see what it would look like if you pull it really tight and make them little, thick flowers. Try that for the purple one or the pink one. If you want to do it looser so you can see how that looks, try that for the other ones. Just something to think about. I'm going to keep going around here till it looks about done. And then when I'm happy with it, see, I just make one straight stitch around the outer end, pull it all the way through, and that's how I'm going to finish that stitch. Fluff it up a little bit and knot it on the back using the same knotting technique as I showed you earlier in the video. Now, still using these same 6 strands of embroidery floss, once you cut the previous thread off, you are going to knot it again, and you are going to proceed with this satin stitch. And the satin stitch is just straight stitches parallel to each other, super close to each other to fill up a certain spot so that when you are done, it kind of looks like satin. And you can see that in the green space below the blue one that I'm stitching. So to do this stitch, you come up. I like to start in the center. I don't know if you have to start in the center, but that's where I'm comfortable doing it. So you're going to come up through the fabric on the outer rim of the space, and you're going to pull it all the way through, and then you're going to go directly across from it in the correlating spot on the design, and then pull it all the way through again. So you're going to come up, down at the bottom now, right next to where you came up before. Pull your needle and your thread all the way through, and then bring it back down directly across from where you are. And you will notice that as you're following the rim of the design, of the shape, the stitches are going to get smaller because it's an oval. So your space is going to get smaller. See how that works? Anyway, you're going to keep on going. I didn't like that stitch. It was not close enough for me. So you can undo it and then thread your needle back up again and keep going. That's the glory of this kind of stuff. There's no room for mistakes because you can fix it. hopefully, once I've finished stitching the left side, I'm going to go back towards the center and going to stitch now this right side. So again, just come out from the outer edge of the shape and pull it all the way through and then go back down directly across from it. Keep going all the way until you fill up your shape. And once that is done, you can knot it on the back. I just want you to pay attention to one thing here. When I finish this blue shape up, I realized that I don't like a spot in there. So I'm just going to come right back and put another stitch in there. That's also amazing. So when you're done, you flip your hoop over. This is how I typically like to knot my things. Did you see that? I just made one little loop and then fed the needle right through that little loop that I created. Then I used the needle to pull that little knot down towards the fabric. For these next stitches, I like to use 4 pieces of thread. So this is how you separate your 6 strands of embroidery floss. At the end of them, I'm just going to grab onto 2, while the other hand grabs onto the 4, and you slowly and gently pull them apart. Usually it forms a little ball at the end. There you go. Just slow and steady wins the race. Put the 2 threads to the side, and now thread your 4th thread floss into your needle, just like so. This is the pinch technique, pinch and squeeze, patent pending. Pull it through, and then knot the end of the thread again. One little loop around my fingy, pull the tail through, boom, done. The next stitch is the back stitch, and I chose to do a dotted line on this design for this reason. So you're going to pull your needle all the way through the fabric at not the start of the dotted line, but at that second spot. See where the dark line ends? And then you're going to go backwards to the beginning of the line. So these are just straight little stitches, but you are going backwards. So again, you're going to now go to the second stitch, comes up towards the next stitch spot and then goes back to the end where you just were. Okay, so you're going to come up in the beginning and then go backwards to where you were. So come up at the end, go back, come up and then go back, come up and then go back. That's why it's called the back stitch. So you are advancing up your stitch line, but you are stitching backwards. And there you go. Once you're done with that, knot it on the back. After you cut that thread and knotted it and rethreaded your needle, this is the split stitch. So you're going to come up at the beginning of the line and then go down at the end of that first stitch. Then to come up again, you're going to come up right in the middle of that first stitch you did, and then you're going to go back down at the end of that second stitch. So the split stitch is splitting your previous stitch in half. So I like to use 4 strands for this whenever possible because I'm OCD. So then you're going to come back down to the third stitch. And then the fourth stitch comes up in the middle of that third stitch and pull it all the way through and then go back down onto that fourth spot. And again, I used a dotted line for this because I thought it would help the beginner hand embroidery person have more uniform stitches throughout their piece. So that's why I decided to do the dotted line. When you're all done with this stitch, you're going to knot it on the back as previously shown and rethread your needle, knot it again, and we're going to do the stem stitch. So you come up at the beginning of your line and down at the end of that first darkened little spot. Now you don't pull it all the way through, you keep the thread as a loop and then bring your needle back up in the middle of that stitch and then pull it all the way through. So now you're going to go back down to the end of that little light dash. Keep it as a loop. Always keep the loop on the same side of the line and put your needle up through the middle of that stitch. So now again, down at the end of that, keep it a little loop and then pull your needle through the middle of that and pull it through. Now here's about where I thought I was going to run out of embroidery floss, and I did not know what I was going to do if that was going to happen because it's a whole big spiel. You got to re-knot it, reload it, blah blah blah. But by the grace of all, it actually worked, and I managed. Look at how good I made that fit. All right, then you knot it on the back, and that should be it for your 4 strands of embroidery floss. Now you take your 2 that you put aside, and you're going to double them up. So thread them through your needle, and then have the two ends meet. Do a little loopy, do a little tail action, pull it through, and you got a knot. Now we're going to do the lazy daisy. Lazy daisy, super easy. Come up through the bottom of this little point and back down through the little point and keep it a loop. See, I keep a little loop, and then I'm going to come up at the top of this little petal design, right on the inside. Put the little loop over it, and now pull it through. So once you've done that, the tighter you pull it, the tighter your little petal will be. The looser you leave it, the little chunkier it will be. Now you bring your needle back down on the outside of that little hoop, and that tacks it down. Now, knowing that, here's your next stitch, which is chain stitch. So you knot the lazy daisy stitch on the back, reload your needle, and here we go. So the chain stitch starts out with a lazy daisy stitch. So I just do a loop. I'm going to come up through the top and pull it through. That makes the first one. Now, instead of tacking it down with just a little simple straight stitch, you're going to go back down through the center of that petal to create another loop. Now you're going to bring your needle back up through the fabric on the outside of the next little petal shape. And again, bring your needle back down through the center of where you are, that last petal. So you're making a chain. So it's just a little petal chain. So the next petal tacks down the previous petal is essentially what that means. So you create the little loop, come up through the center, make another little loop, and then tack it down in the center. Go it all the way down through the whole entire chain. And again, this kit was designed by me. I did this all by hand. I figured out how much thread to include in the kit. There's a little close up on this chain stitch again. So here's a loop just to show you a little detail. Come up through the top of the next spot, pull it, and then come back in the center of that same loop to create another loop. And then again at the top of the next little petal design, come right back up through the middle, and then so on and so forth. So if you purchase your kit from me, thank you very much. I cannot say that enough. You are amazing and awesome, and we love you. The kit comes with this printed fabric, 8 feet of embroidery floss cut out for you and wound around a wooden ember and thread thread holder, floss holder. And once you're done with that chain stitch, you knot it on the back, reload your needle, and here we go with the French knots. French knots are tricky. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of people get frustrated with them, but they're not that bad. Practice makes perfect. So you knot your needle, pull it all the way through the fabric. Then you wrap the thread around your needle. Keep it tight with the non-dominant hand, in this case my left hand, and then go back down through the spot where you were, and you are essentially making a knot. So here we go, back up through the fabric on the second colored dot, pull it all the way through. Now, use your non-dominant hand, pull it to the side, watch me wrap it once, watch me wrap it twice, and then you feed the needle right back through the spot where you were, keeping that left hand tight on that thread. Not super tight. You have to be able to pull it through the fabric, but just tight enough, okay? So that was 2 wraps. The next one we're going to do, we're going to come up through the fabric from the back, right in the colored dot, pull it all the way through. We're going to wrap it 3 times. 1, a 2, a 3. Sorry, I had to pull it tight with your left hand and pull it right back down into the spot where you were. Okay, so you pulling that tight essentially keeps the stitch great. It's very important. And then you are done. So we used 4 strands of embroidery floss. We wrapped it around 1 time for the first knot, 2 times for the second knot, and 3 times for the third knot. And that is important because practice is amazing. And second, you can see how many times wrapping it creates a bigger knot. Also, the amount of thread that you are using factors into the knot size as well. So you can get pretty diverse with your French knots by how many twists and how many threads you use to make them. So again, do not feel discouraged by the French knots. They are pretty easy, I promise you, once you get the hang of it. And I gave you a lot of extra little dots that you can practice with. So wrap it once, wrap it twice, wrap it 3 times, pull it tight, and stick it right back into the hole that you came from. Heyo. When you're done, knot it on the back, and you have completed your Ember and Thread Hand Embroidery 101 stitch design. Watch me while I go forth and now do the purple and the pink super fast. If you're still here watching the rest of this video, I can tell you a little bit more about this design and what went into making it. Originally, I designed this so I could do a embroidery class in person at a winery. So I created actual written instructions with the diagrams and step-by-step instructions for each stitch that is included in these kits if you purchase them through me. I have 2 designs that you can pick from. This design I would consider a little bit more beginner friendly. The other one is a floral design, and it can get a little hairy in these certain areas. So if you are looking at just a basic beginning embroidery 101, this would be an awesome kit for you or for the person that you love that wants to learn how to hand embroider. Again, it comes with written instructions, step-by-step guide, a magnetic needle minder for you to put your needle on while you're in the process of stitching this. Comes with the designed printed on the material, and then the fabric is stretched already in the wooden embroidery hoop for you. It comes with little scissors for embroidery scissors and your needle and 8 feet of embroidery floss. So that is plenty for you to stitch this whole design. What's also awesome is the fact that I left some space around this design in the hoop so you can still practice and do what I like to call doodle stitching. Just something that you can work on out on your own time if you'd like, just do some practice stitches and so on and so forth. And anyway, as we go through this purple and pink stitching, I will tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Jen. I am self taught in this hand embroidery art form. I've been doing it probably since 1994. That sounds like a good time. I was approximately 13. And my mom and my aunt, my mom's friend, an honorary aunt, so one of those deals, they were very crafty, and I learned basically from them and watching them. And throughout the years, I have developed into a little skill of whatnot. I like to do it. It keeps me happy, keeps me occupied while the world is in flames. So I figured, why not bring this love of textile art to more people in the world? Now, I know that you can watch other hand embroidery videos and you can buy other hand embroidery kits, but you should take solace in the fact that you are watching mine and bought mine. So thank you so much, because that makes me incredibly happy, and you have no idea. It really makes me happy. This is a huge step for me, putting myself out there, designing this from start to finish, the whole kit, everything, getting all of the parts and pieces to make it happen, having the event that I designed this for be canceled really took the wind out of my sails, but nonetheless, I am here and still doing it because I like to do it, and I figured I designed it, I made it, I wanna follow through with it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this as well, and I will show you the final way to end your hoop next. The next step in this process is to trim the fabric and finish the actual hoop itself. I like to ensure that the hoop is tightened as best as possible, your fabric is centered in there with the design as best as you need, and everything is tight and ready to go. Now, our design, it comes in square fabrics, so you're going to want to trim, leaving about an inch or an inch and a half edging around the border there, just like I'm doing here. It doesn't have to be perfect, just cut it up like you can as best as you possible. I'm gonna show you how to do the running stitch. The running stitch is the last stitch we are going to do. Now, typically, I like to glue the backs of my fabrics onto the hoop itself, but for the purpose of this design and being able to teach you another stitch, I'm going to show you how to do it this way. So in the kit, you should have one long piece of thread, and you're going to load that all up in your needle and do not knot it. Okay, you're going to start. I see I don't do this very often, so watch me figure this out as I go along. You're going to start underneath the fabric flap like I just did there. Leave like a 6-inch or more tail. Again, it's not knotted, so don't pull it all the way through. And now we're going to do the running stitch. And essentially, you are just weaving the needle in and out of this material so that when you go all the way around it, you're going to meet back up with the tail that you just left, and you're going to pull it tight, and it'll cinch up the fabric on the back of the hoop, and then you're going to knot it. Just a side note, you don't want to put this stitch too close to the edge of this fabric or too close to the wooden hoop part of this. There is a sweet spot that's like right in the middle that you want to reach. And you'll see what I mean as I keep going here. So you just got to go in and out of this little fabric. It doesn't matter like the amount of space that you use in between the first stitch and the second stitch. I'm literally just arbitrarily feeding it in and out of the fabric. See how it's starting to get cinched up already? That's what we want. Keep going, people. You're so close. You're almost done. Also, this running stitch is a good, like, random, not random, but it's a good sewing stitch to just know on hand. It's a good way to quickly just adhere two pieces of fabric together, to tack them together, rather, while you sew them with the sewing machine or something. Just things that I've picked up along the way. Again, I'm self-taught. I don't really know the technical terms. I just kind of wing it and it works for me. So this is how you do it. I'm going all the way around, and when you're done, you're going to end up back where you were. So I'm just going to take one more little stitch thing and end up down inside the flap thing, and then I'm going to tie it tight. I'm going to knot it, and I'm going to call it a day. I also included a little DIY ember and thread patch that you can stitch to the back of your piece here. I like to stitch it to this extra little flap of fabric that's hanging down. You can also date it. You can put the 2025 or whatever year you happen to be watching this and doing this in. Hopefully it's super far in the future. That'd be pretty dope. Anyway, I'm pulling it tight and I've knotted it. Here we go. You can use just the straight stitches that I told you how to do earlier in this video to stitch that little patch on here. You can glue it onto the back of the wooden hoop, whatever you'd like to do. Just be careful you don't actually do it through the embroidery design itself on the back of the hoop. But here you go. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for purchasing my kit if you purchased it, or for just learning how to stitch through me. You are amazing. I love you so much, and I look forward to doing more stuff, and I hope you stay tuned for more stuff. And I'm just going to keep talking about the amazingness that is ember and thread and sewing and hand embroidery and kit creations and social media and getting your stuff out there. And yay! Thank you so much for being a part of this. I would not have done it without you, obviously. Thank you. Love you all. There's the patch.